Hi, everyone. Welcome to tonight's monthly shift. Thanks so much for joining us. I'm really, really glad that you guys could be here tonight. And we have quite a few people that are going to tune in using the recording that are also registered. So that's really exciting. So for those of you that haven't met me before, my name's Lisa Lucas. I'm a global mentor, international speaker, and multi-award-winning nursing leader. And I'm the CEO and founder of the Hive Nursing Development and the Hive Experience. But more importantly, I am someone who actually understands the reality of our profession at the moment and what becomes possible when nurses and midwives finally get the support that they deserve and they need, which is unfortunately not the normal in our industry. So tonight isn't just a webinar. Tonight is part of something much bigger. It's part of a movement that we are started in the Hive Nurses Network, and that's a national movement of a community that's been built for nurses who want more than just survival mode, which unfortunately is the norm at the moment. So they want more clarity, they want more leadership, they want more opportunity, but most of all, they want a space where their growth actually matters. And I've spent over 2 decades in the profession around oncology, cardiology, retrievals, emergency department for more than 16 years as well in some of the busiest EDs in the country. And it pains me to say that I've seen some brilliant nurses just burn out and some really aspiring and emerging leaders stall in their career because no one taught them how to lead or give them the support that they needed. And I've watched the demands of the healthcare system rise while the support system has stayed exactly the same and has made no change at all. And I'm a third generation nurse, so I know the emotional toll of the work all too well. And I know the potential, if nurses get the support they need and the right tools, the growth is exponential. So it's essentially why I built the Hive, which is more than just a company, it's an ecosystem. Because the workforce that we're seeing and what I've seen even more recently in the last sort of 5 years is that it's not just under pressure anymore, it's actually breaking. And we're seeing burnout and attrition. We're seeing inconsistent mentoring. We're seeing, confusing pathways, leadership gaps. We're thrust into these leadership and management roles with no support. And the thing is, it's not an individual problem, it's a systems problem. So what we did was we built a solution, and it was the Hive. So I'm just going to start sharing my screen here, guys. So we created, as I mentioned before, we created an ecosystem for nurses and midwives. And it's built so that nurses and midwives can have some career leadership and some support in that area because it's completely lacking. We can invest in their well-being support, and we can create a community where they get everything they need as a whole human, not just as a nurse or midwife. And this is where the Hive Nursing Development was the original birth of the whole thing. And it's where you can really grow as a leader and step into the next chapter of your career. We offer things like mentoring, leadership programs, application and interview coaching. We even have a nurse unit manager and ADON group mentoring program where everything that should be given as you step into the next chapter of your career isn't. We have created a system where you can get that. And that this is really the founding company and founding structure of our entire Hive network and empire. And the backbone of the Hive is really the mentors behind it. It was always designed as nurses who grow other nurses. So myself and Mirren were the founders of the company. Mirren, like me, has reached an executive level. She's the director of nursing in a large health service here in Queensland. And she began her career in Ireland before moving to Australia in 2012. With nearly 20 years of experience, she has held quite a various leadership roles, both in clinical and non-clinical setting, before progressing to her executive position where she's now been for a number of years. She's really, really passionate about workforce strategy, and she's incredibly good at it. She's also very passionate about nursing excellence, innovation, and really striving to make an environment where nurses are able to thrive, which is why it was a natural progression for us to found the company. She's a wife and a mother, and she understands more than anyone the challenges of balancing a family and career with absolutely no support here, given she's from all the way from Ireland. So despite her executive roles in large health services, she remains committed to nursing, to mentoring other nurses and really shaping our future leaders, which is, I'm very grateful to have her on board. One of our other mentors who's newer to the system, and I'm very, very grateful for her jumping on board, is Kiri de Kruif. Kiri is an emergency nurse educator with more than 12 years of experience and a master's in advanced practice. She really specialises in nursing excellence, and I can attest to that after working with Kiri for many years. She's great at workforce development, an absolute expert at it, actually, and she's really exceptional, and why I reached out to her at evidence-based recruitment. And she puts me to shame, I think, when it comes to recruitment strategy. She's an absolute gun. She's known for her calmness. She definitely kept me calm over the years. Values-driven leadership, and she's really committed to supporting, learning environments, which is why she is great in the educator role. And anywhere where nurses can grow and can deliver exceptional care, she's an absolute asset to the company. And Annie Hampson, we love Annie. Annie's our award-winning midwife and educator with more than 22 years experience, and we're so grateful to have her on board as well. She has an extensive scope in midwifery practice and leadership support, and we're very grateful to have her on board because she's actually a clinical supervisor as well. So she's really embodies, that leader who builds capability and resilience and really focuses on the well-being of all her teams across maternity. So we're very grateful to have Annie on board. So that's our team. Then we move on to probably the funnest part of the company, which is the Hive experience. And the Hive experience is about creating a space for nurses and midwives to get back to themselves, reconnect. Our retreats are national and international, and it's where nurses really can find space to reset and restore and reconnect with themselves and really focus on their own well-being. Their very deep personal and professional development is embodied in all of our retreats, as well as just having a good time. And it gives you a chance to get outside the day-to-day and the noise and actually learn some strategies so that you don't reach a point where you have to get away from work and you're not trying to escape your life. You're actually able to put strategy in place to really grow and develop and just actually enjoy the work that we work so hard to become part of. And then, of course, there's our Hive Nurses Network, which is what you're part of today. This is our community space. It's a monthly event. We do them virtually every month, and then every quarter we'll do in person here in Brizzy. But I wanted to be able to provide this community nationally. So it's really about connections where you can collaborate with other nurses. We definitely have experts and keynote speakers coming on. And we're very fortunate to have quite a large partnership base offering lots and lots of services to our nurses, and that they're here every month as well. So it's really about connecting nurses throughout the country and where they can actually get some strategies in place to really up their career and just have a good time as well. And all of that, the whole network, the whole Hive, the whole ecosystem is really, our outcomes speak for themselves, really, based on the impact that we're able to make. 98% of our mentoring clients that step into new roles or promotions within 3 to 6 months of working with us. And 70% of our clients actually transition into long-term clients. They stay with us, they see the benefit of what we offer, and they're staying on for the long term. And consistently, nurses are reporting they've got increased confidence, they've got, increased clarity, their leadership capability is through the roof, and they actually, reduces their burnout because we're heavily focused on well-being as well. And I find that that's what we deserve. That's the minimum of what we deserve as nurses and midwives after giving so much to others for so long. But We also partner, as I mentioned, with a lot of organisations, and that's really about supporting the whole person behind the uniform. And we have a Quantum Club, who's all about biometric testing. We have personal nutrition with Next Level, family support services. So we have 99 Au Pairs, which is a national au pair service, and even guidance for women going through major life changes or transitions with Reflect and Rise. And then we've got our amazing partners who are with us tonight, Med With Me, who are really changing the landscape in supporting not just student nurses, but also our birthing mothers, and their platforms really change the landscape in that space. And we're going to hear more about that when Janita tells us all that they do. So I'm really excited to have them here. Now, if you have been to one of our monthly shift events before, you know that we have a little ritual. It's about giving back to the community, but also sharing our amazing community with others. So what we ask you to do is take a selfie or a screenshot while you're here tonight. And this is obviously only for our live clients, but it's about making sure that you are spreading the word. So yeah, it's fun. It is fun, but it's also strategic because every post will help another nurse discover this space. So in order to go into the running, you need to just take your selfie and then just use the hashtag # the Hive Nurses Network, and you automatically go in the running. And we draw it at the end of the night, and someone gets an amazing prize. And they're quite significant. So get on board with that. So the community grows through the visibility of you guys, through referrals, through momentum, and just the potential in this room every month is really quite extraordinary. So we see career shifts and lots of people just not aware of what we offer, or just wanting to connect with other people is what most people say they walk away with. So it really starts here. This is what it's all about, being part of our community. So before we dive in, I just want you to know that there's a lot of ways that you can move forward. You can either just stay part of our community. These events, as I said, are on every month. So that's at the very minimum. You can connect with us on a regular basis. You can book a strategy call with us as well to see if any of our services, retreats, mentoring, anything like that fits what you're looking for. Or you could partner with us. We're always looking for new partners as well. So if you have or know of a service that would suit nurses and midwives, please reach out. We'd love to know more about it. But essentially, we have created this ecosystem so that everything is here for you. You get to choose what's right, what's the next step for you, and we're always here to support our nurses and midwives ongoing. All right, so what we're going to do is we're just going to start with our first session now that you know a little bit about us and who we are. And I'm just going to put up our next slide. So tonight's session, we're going to celebrate the year that was. We're going to look back and we're going to reflect, but we've got a few exercises to do as well. So if you haven't got a notebook and pen, go grab one. You're going to need it. It's all about having a look back so that next month, when we're ready in January, we can set our goals and intentions for the next year with complete clarity. So it's not difficult, but it is very personal and quite impactful. So grab your pen and paper and we'll get started with this session. So as I mentioned, we're going to step in to next year, but we're going to use the reflection of last year in a way of sort of looking back and acknowledging how far we've come. And it'll give you an opportunity to, well, give yourself credit, which we rarely do. I know I'm terrible at it, but also have a look at what growth you've had in the year, because it will set what next year really means for you. So that's what we're doing, reflecting on the year. Okay, so we're going to do this first session where we're going to reflect on the year. You're going to explore your wins. We're going to do a few activities and you're going to see how your impact has affected others, but what it will mean for the structure of next year. Okay, this is all about evidence-based reflection, which is, as nurses, we're great at reflective practice. We're not very good at reflecting our own growth. So that's what tonight is about. Then we're going to hear from the lovely Janita and going to talk to us all about Mid with Me and what the great things that they're doing. And then the second session is all about creating that direction. So taking the data that we've learned in the first session and putting it into practice so that we can have really clear direction and identity and momentum for 2026. And that way in January, we can get to setting our goals for 2026. So let's get cracking. To start tonight's session, we're just gonna anchor how we're feeling at the moment or how we're feeling about the year. So it's not a reflection. Reflection's not really, it's not a soft activity. It's not a nice to have. This is core leadership discipline. If we don't do reflective practice, we don't grow, we don't improve our practice. It's the same with leadership. It's the same with any kind of growth. And leaders who reflect regularly will make clearer decisions. That's evidence-based without a fact, because they will recognize patterns that they're seeing much faster. So I'll just realized I didn't start the poll. So let me just start that for you guys. So you should be able to scan the QR code while I'm chatting away to you and just pop that in. So you're basically going to do a check-in. It's, just be honest with yourself. It's not going anywhere, okay? And you've got to select the word that best captures your tone of the year. So, and you can do this if you're watching the replay as well. So your year might have been expansive, it might have been heavy, it might have been transformative or chaotic or steady, whatever it was, it doesn't really matter what it was. It's just a starting point, okay? And whatever you're feeling, it's completely valid. There's no right or wrong answer. And if your word's not there, that's fine. Just write your word down, okay? Doesn't matter. For me, an example, the first thing that comes to mind for me is expansive. I've had incredible growth, not just in myself, but in my business, in my relationships, everything. When I look back, it wasn't always easy. It was very challenging at times, but it was exponential expansion in every area. So that's what embodies me today, like at the end of the year. That's what 2025 really means for me. So what does it mean for you? Okay, so I feel like everyone's. So now we've got that first initial look in. And I can see there's a lot of similarities in that, guys, like a lot. Now we're going to use a reflective process that will help you to pinpoint certain themes, okay? And they're quite powerful. They're lenses in what it was like for you for 2025. Okay, we're going to look at your wins, so your achievements, breakthroughs, and progress. And even if you'll find that there'll be ones that you've forgotten about, or that you kind of minimize, that you kind of made trivial, but a win's a win. It doesn't matter how big or small. So we're going to have a look at your wins. We're going to have a look at the growth. So what has stretched you or what's tested you, because we've definitely had challenges throughout the year, and it's ultimately shaped who you are, without a doubt. And then we're going to look at the impact you've had. So where your presence made a difference, whether you made a difference to others or you made a difference to a situation, because that is absolutely evidence of your leadership in action. And all of these lenses will help you move beyond that sort of generic reflection. It kind of helps you deep dive into, okay, this is actually what's happened for me in the year. And they create some real structure and clarity around what we're doing. And those three questions you've got on the screen there, they will help you to answer each of those lenses. What went well, what surprised you, and what achievements did you maybe overlook or minimize? So let's do this activity. It'll only take you a couple of minutes, each of these, but let's have a look at, what your wins were. And nothing is too small, as I said. Don't minimize your wins. Some of my wins have been, I got out of bed in the morning and didn't didn't press the snooze button. Like, some of them can be really small, but some of them are much bigger. I quit my job and became everything to me, is growing this movement. So that's a big thing for me. So what were your wins? Every single one of them counts, because the truth is that most nurses and most healthcare leaders don't actually notice what they're doing. They don't notice the wins, and we're terrible at recognizing what we do. So we're going to flip that. So your wins might include your accomplishments, what you're proud of, any breakthroughs that you didn't expect, or moments where you showed sort of courage in an instance. So what I want you to take a couple of minutes. I want you to list 5 wins from the year. That's it, 5. And I want you to highlight, of those 5, which one was the one that you almost dismissed. Okay? And I'm going to give you a couple of minutes to do that, because it's really quite impactful. So 5 wins from the year. Okay, so by now, hopefully you've got 5 on your list. And like I said, I want you to highlight the one that you've nearly dismissed. Okay, what was that one that you nearly didn't recognize? Because it will reveal something about your recognition pattern. It'll reveal the way you undervalue the contribution you make. So what was that one that you nearly skipped past? Because that's the gold in there. Okay, and ask yourself, why did I overlook it? What belief sits underneath that, and what would shift if I actually honored it fully? So an example, if I used my example of, I was able to get up without pressing a snooze button consistently, why is that overlooked by me? Because that's an assumption to me that everybody should be able to just get out of bed. Like, I judge myself for not being able to get out of bed. So why? And what was the win there? Well, I've been consistent, I've been driven, and I've been so excited about what I'm building, what I'm doing, that I don't need the snooze button. So while it might seem like a very small win, it's actually because I've made a massive shift in my life where getting out of bed every day is exciting instead of draining. So when you look at it that way, you can see how that tiny win is actually a huge thing in my life. And you can see the gold there. So now that we've got our wins, let's move on to the growth lens. And this is probably my favorite one, and one I talk to a lot of people about, because we know growth isn't comfortable, right? The phrase, growth and comfort don't occupy the same space, is nearly spit out every day by someone I know. But it's actually disguised in the challenges that we face on a daily basis, because you can't change the fact that the challenges are there, and particularly in nursing and midwifery, they are there constantly, and you can't change that. So the thing is, it's what do we have to summon inside ourselves, or what do we have to become in order to deal with those challenges? That's the gold in the growth. So when I think about what my growth is, I think about all of the hard stuff I went through this year and then think, okay, well, now I'm not the same person today that I was a year ago because I went through all of that. And here's all the traits and qualities and characteristics that I embody on a regular basis because I went through that. So it's a really powerful way of looking at what your growth actually was this year. So I want you to have a think about what were the moments that stretched you? What were the moments that really challenged you mentally, emotionally, professionally, that you didn't feel ready for, but they came anyway and you handled it? And what did you have to become? What were the traits and characteristics? What happened? How did it stretch you? What did it teach you? What skill do you now have, or what strengths do you now have as a reflection of that experience? Because these moments are not failures. They're not stresses. They're not catastrophes. They're an opportunity for you to see what you're able to become, because life doesn't throw things at us that we're not capable of dealing with. We feel like we're not capable of dealing with them in the moment, but we absolutely are. And it's a test. Let's summon all those things that we need inside ourselves. So what growth did you have? I'll give you a couple of minutes. You want 3 moments. You want 3 stretch moments, and what that moment taught you and how it changed you, how you navigated through them. Okay, guys, so we've had a look at our wins, we've had a look at our growth. Let's move on to our next lens, which is impact, which is something we all overlook because we're looking at the impact that other people make on us, but we're not actually seeing the impact that we make because it's everywhere. It is where your leadership becomes really visible to other people and where you need to tap into it and see that you are making a significant impact. And this is an area most nurses will under recognize significantly because impact isn't always dramatic. It's often subtle and quiet, and your impact doesn't have to be massive, but have you changed one person? Have you changed one person, a situation for one person? Have you supported a colleague in a way that you didn't really acknowledge that you had done that? You know, did you give reassurance to a patient that changed their entire journey? Did you maybe make a decision that changed the trajectory of a situation? You know, what was the impact that you had? So, where did you make a difference this year? And what would have not happened without you? You know, what was that the key piece that it was because of you and your impact that it happened? And who benefited because you decided to show up? So, and if you find yourself thinking, oh, that wasn't a big deal, I want you to stop and have a think about it because, again, that's where the gold is. That's where it lies, that impact. So, where did you make a difference? What impact are you most proud of? And what feedback or moments stayed with you through the year? So, I'll give you a couple of minutes. Have a think about what was your impact this year. Okay, by now you guys should have quite a few golden nuggets of what your year was. And this is where we're going to top it all off. And you're going to be able to create a statement. And this statement is then going to help you transition into the next segment. So I want you to bring all your reflections that you've had, all your wins, all your growth, all your impact, and I want you to be able to put it into one powerful statement. And it's usually just one word, but whatever that statement is for you, this was my year of. Now, whatever word came up for you as soon as you read that or I said that, that's the theme of your year. So remember how we did a check-in? Now we've gone through and looked at all those wins. This was my year of what? So for me, when I did this exercise, this was 100%, and I think I mentioned it before, this was my year of expansion because everything has expanded because I decided to show up. My impact has expanded, my growth has expanded, my everything. So this was my year of expansion. So what was yours? Don't overthink it. As soon as that word came up, that's the headline, okay? Let it land, acknowledge it, and if it's not a positive, then we're going to use that to flip it for the next year. But it should be a positive after you've acknowledged all those wins, all that growth, all that impact. So you've done some work, some deep work now. If you haven't finished all your words, that's fine. Go back and do it. Take your time. And what you've now got is data. That's what you've got. So you're going to be able to expand this in our next session where we're going to actually be able to set some direction for next year, which is really cool. But before we do that, I'm just going to stop sharing here. We're going to hear from the lovely Janita Hardy from Mid With Me, and she's going to share with us all about what Mid With Me do and how they can help, like I said, not just birthing mothers, but also our student midwife workforce, which is really cool. So Janita, I'm going to mute myself and let you share your presentation and take it from here.
Yeah, thanks, Lisa. Help if I click share. Hang on, sorry. There we go.
While you're looking for that, Janita, I'm just going to mention, guys, that we've got a couple of links here from the guys at Mid With Me about their student midwife platform and their video on their service providers. So I will send that out to all participants with the recording as well, so you guys can all see that and have access to that.
Thanks, Lisa. Is it sharing okay? Hopefully. Are we sharing?
I can't see it there, but
hang on one sec. I'll just stop sharing and then
technology is great, isn't it?
Yeah, hang on. It's saying it's sharing, but anyway, let me just do it again. Is it sharing now?
Yes, I can see it.
Awesome. Oh, thanks, Annie, or whoever that was. Thank you. So thanks so much, Lisa, for the introduction. Thank you to the Hive nursing team. It's really exciting for us to actually be, or me, speaking tonight and discussing our excitement about Mid With Me. So my name's Juanita Hardy, and with Nick, my youngest son, we are the co-founders of Mid With Me. We have a blend of 30 years plus of working in healthcare, and Nick having 10 years plus in design, user experience, and tech. Our passion really for Mid With Me is driven by lived experience, education, industry, conversations, and community stories. We want to make a difference by empowering pregnant women, student midwives, and therefore improving the future of maternal care in Australia. And Lisa touched on, quite a number of pains, which obviously is, something that's very close to my heart and why we want to make this really successful and improve the continuity of care out there for pregnant women and students and also service providers. So what is Mid With Me? It's Australia's first dedicated platform connecting student midwives with pregnant women for the continuity of care. It's a safe, simple and structured way for pregnant women to browse, chat and pair with a student midwife. It has a mutual choice matching system built on trust, comfort and personal fit. It's a digital tool that supports the continuity from the first hello through the pregnancy, birth and to postpartum. And why we built Mid With Me. As we're all aware, the traditional COCE recruitment is broken, it's stressful, it's inconsistent, it's inequitable, and students and pregnant women are really trying to make it work using Facebook groups, random posts, word of mouth, and luck. And we saw the emotional, educational, and logistical strain placed on people really during a time where some support really is important and it's what matters most. We believe that there had to be a better way, one that centres connection, choice and empowerment. There's many challenges for student midwives, but I'm just going to touch on a few. Student midwives really rely on social media, which can be really competitive with common threads and very time-consuming recruiting pregnant women. It's often difficult finding women who are informed about what the COCE is or the continuity of care experience, and are they willing and located within reach of the student midwife. Unfortunately, rural and regional students often face long travel distances, limited placements at hospitals, and are really reduced with their choice. Student midwives are struggling with study, placements, work and life. We've all been there while trying to meet strict continuity of care experience requirements. And then the challenges for pregnant women. There is limited awareness of the benefits of continuity of care with a student midwife. There's a lot of pregnant women that actually don't know that it's out there. And there's often uncertainty about where and how to find a student, and one that they feel comfortable with. Some women have feelings of overwhelm from unsolicited messages, random flyers or public Facebook posts, or even student midwives really randomly just, going up to them, in the waiting rooms or down at the cafeteria at the hospitals. Pregnant women have a desire for emotional, educational and practical support, but there's no structured access point for them. And lastly, accessibility in rural communities where support services are limited or stretched really thinly. So what Mid With Me has achieved so far, it's really exciting actually. Last week we hit over 1,700 users on our platform, 1,000 families we've supported in the last 10 months. We currently have just over 720 student midwives on board and 1,000 plus pregnant women. 500 plus successful continuity of care experience relationships have been formed, and we are an Australia-wide community. So we've had lots of wins to celebrate, as Lisa's talked about. Sometimes we don't celebrate our wins enough. And now what we are building is a professional platform for out-of-hospital pregnancy care. So it's the next chapter of Mid With Me. It's a place that encapsulates continuity of care, shared care and collaborative care. But this came about through challenges, and we're hoping that, the platform will solve a lot of these issues. For families, there's fragmented care and inconsistent information. There's a lack of personalised pathways and trusted providers. And it's often difficult navigating services and appointments, which can often exacerbate mental load. For the service providers, so the midwives, the doulas, the pregnancy physios, just to name a few, there's inefficiency from multiple disconnected systems. So there's admin overload, taking time away from meaningful care. and there's no centralised tool for collaboration and continuity of care. And there's real difficulty reaching women, again, in rural and remote settings. The system overall has limited continuity of care models. There's often burnout amongst service care providers, and there's increasing demand for personalised and flexible support. The impact of a disconnected system. The research shows that service providers spend up to a third of their week on admin, and 1 in 4 cases records are missing or unclear, which can delay care and increase the risk of errors. The continuity of care is a national priority. We've heard a lot about that in the news in the last couple of weeks, and it's proven to reduce interventions, trauma, and poor mental health outcomes. Yet most service providers cannot deliver it due to the lack of shared systems to coordinate this consistent care. Some women are at more risk. Unfortunately, rural mums have a 60% higher risk of perinatal death, and 1 in 5 pregnant women experience anxiety or depression, yet few get timely connected care. So the features of the platform, we want to reach more clients from anywhere, and the platform will enable this. It'll offer virtual appointments and connect securely with patients beyond the service provider's local area, expanding their reach without increasing their workload. So the Smart CRM, which is the customer relationship management, sort of like a dashboard for the service providers, will manage bookings, notes. Their clients' teams will be in one place. There'll be less admin, better accuracy, and more control for them. It's a secure, centralised space for messaging, notes, and birth plans, improving continuity across support teams. And we'll also have an AI-powered client support built in, which will reduce the manual entry with note summaries, smart suggestions, and we'll even have AI Ask Polly for client FAQs. I'm just going to share the video. It goes for about a minute, so hopefully it doesn't lag. It sometimes lags, but let's see how we go. No, it's not going to let me. Oh, anyway, Lisa's going to put it in the chat. I need my IT man here, obviously. Yeah, so it's just a 1 minute a video which actually just goes through how the digital platform works. So Lisa's going to put that or share that with everybody tonight. So MidWithMe connects women and pregnancy service providers in one trusted platform. We're building a digital platform that brings together pregnant women and their care teams in one connected space, which will help women access trusted out-of-hospital support and give service providers the tools to coordinate care more easily. So that's just a bit of a snapshot of MidWithMe. And just if you like to contact us, there's our email address, and obviously there's my mobile. So yeah, thanks, Lisa.
I've got the video up. Would you like me to show it?
Oh yeah, that'd be awesome. I'll
Right.
just stop sharing. I'll mute myself.
I think my share's up, so I'll just.
Thanks, Lisa, for sharing that.
My pleasure. I'm just going to take that down. Okay, I have a couple of very quick questions for you. Can student midwives sign up with Mid With Me?
Yes, so we've got the link and the profile's live, or the platform's live. So yeah, any student in any state of Australia can actually sign up. Obviously, there's restrictions at some hospitals, but the students, yeah, they can join and connect with a pregnant woman.
I think Annie will be very excited about that, knowing her, knowing her background. And my other question is for service providers, particularly private midwives, doulas, that kind of thing. How did they contact you for further information? Is it just through your email, website, or?
Yeah, so they can send an email to connect@midwithme.com.au, and we can send out the video so that they can have a look, or they can contact us to set up a time and we can go through the platform with them. Takes about
Awesome.
15 to 20 minutes.
Oh, look, I think what you guys are doing is phenomenal. I worked in the space with Annie in the student space for a number of years, and I know the difficulty just from our perspective in student midwives being able to access, that, community practice hours that they're required for their undergraduate. So I think just from our perspective, that's massive. And then, but obviously I know what you're doing in the provider space and in helping birthing mothers. And I think it's such a long time coming to fill a massive gap for midwifery and for early childbirth. It's amazing.
Yeah, it is really exciting. And yeah, thanks for inviting us to present tonight. Thanks,
Thank you.
Lisa.
Thank you so much, Danita. Thanks. Okay. All so much good stuff. All right. So now we're going to just jump into the next segment where you guys are going to put into practice everything else that you use, all that data, and get a little bit of clarity around your next steps for next year. Okay. So we're going to turn your reflections into a strategy moving forward. Okay, so now you've got your data. So you've got your wins, and you've got your growth, and you've got your impact. And then now we're going to have a look at how we put that all together in a nice sort of strategic direction for you. So we're going to do this sort of impact. This is probably a lovely way of framing things. And I've done a similar exercise to this before many years ago, and I love this way of doing it. It's very effective, and it's really, really simple model, so it's not sort of deep. So we're going to look at what you want to carry. So what from this year, what all the things that we've now collected, all that data, what do you want to continue to do, or what do you want to expand on? What do you want to close off? So what do you no longer serves you? What patterns or habits or dynamics need to just stop? For me, it was snooze, but what do you want to close? And then what do you want to create? So what needs to emerge? What kind of skills do you need to gather? What kind of opportunities do you need to create in your life so that you can build even more on what you did this year in the next year? And this is really how we shift from a reflection space into like an intentional direction and intentional leadership. So your exercise now is to write those things down. So what do you want to carry forward? What do you need to close? And what do you need to create? And so some examples for you. So what you want to carry might be something like boundaries. Maybe you've set boundaries on how much overtime you will do in a week, because you know that if you do, 2 or 3 shifts of overtime, that really pulls from your family life. It pulls from your energy and your ability to continue. So maybe you've put boundaries in place to say that you'll only do 1 overtime, and you want that to carry into the next year. Maybe it was confidence to step up and really advocate for a patient or speak out. So what are the things that you want to carry? Boundaries, confidence, it might be healthier routines, and it might be leadership influence, those kinds of things. What do you want to close? So some examples: overcommitting. I was terrible at this. I'm probably still terrible at this, actually. Probably needs to be on my close list. Everything excites me. I want to do everything, and I overcommit and can't deliver on the real thing. So what do you want to close off? Guilt-driven decisions. That's a big one, particularly for nurses. We do something because the opposite is just we'll feel guilty about it if we don't. Are we working beyond your capacity? Are you staying silent? Are you not putting yourself first? What do you want to close? And then what do you want to create next year? Do you want new opportunities and new roles? Do you want to open the door to that? Do you want to advance any skills? Do you want to, build on your systems of well-being? Do you want to connect more with your family? What do you want to create in the new year? So I'm going to give you guys a couple of minutes to have a think about that. And I want you to write 2 or 3 at least for each of those. Okay, so now that you've got you know what you want and what you don't want to move next year, now we're going to have a look at some themes, okay? So you're going to set your direction, and your theme is sort of your focus for the year ahead. It's what you want to look for. It's like your compass, your north point. And it's important to remember tonight we're not setting goals. That's what not tonight's it's not about that, okay? We're going to set the goals in January. This is all about getting everything ready so it's very clear and consistent, okay? So I want you to think a theme stops you from being sort of like scattered. It stops you from being, I guess, disorganized and all over the place. It gives you like a filter, like a decision filter, and it helps you to stay focused. It helps you to avoid overwhelm, which is something that I definitely gets me, is that it's like when I look at the things I want to do, the big things I want to do, it's like the eating an elephant. It just seems too big, and so I get overwhelmed by it. So this will help you bring that back down, give you a theme for the year, and then you can start reverse engineering, and your goals will be more specific and less overwhelming. So it becomes a grounding question throughout the year. Does this align to my theme? So when something's happening, you'll be able to then use that question. Does this align to the theme I wanted? So for me, this year was expansion. Next year is growth. It might be something different. I don't know yet. So what does next year look for you? And every time you move into it, then you'll be able to see, does this align when you're going through something? So here's some examples to get you started of themes that, might be great for you. So expansion, boundaries, steadiness, visibility, what is it? What really resonates for you, that based on all the information you got, what is the theme, your leadership theme for next year? It might also not be on the list, just FYI. It might be something completely unique to you that's not on our list. So now you choose your theme. Now you've looked back at your wins. And now you've looked at your growth and you've looked at your impact. So you should be able to create the statement, my theme for 2025, or it should say 2026, sorry, is an evidence from this year supporting the theme. What is it? So when I talk about evidence, what are the moments, what are the strengths, what are the patterns or the things that point to it that will connect you with that theme? Okay, so for me, it was expansion. Next year is growth. It's more about me growing as a leader, me growing as a business owner, me growing as that. It's less about the expansion of the company. It's more about me as a person. It's growth, you know. So what is the theme for you and what's the evidence to support that? And finally, how will you know you're aligned with that theme throughout the year? What kind of behaviors or choices will reflect it? For me, it's going to be, you know, investing in more education. It's going to be making sure I get out of my comfort zone regularly. So what is it going to be that's going to help you to see that next year everything I'm doing is in line with my theme for the year? So now you've got a system, right? Now you've got all your reflective practice from last year. You know what you want next year to look like, and you know what kind of behaviors are going to help you to recognize that you're staying in line with that. So now you need to check in with, okay, do I feel like all the information I've gathered tonight will prepare me for the next step of the journey? Will it prepare me to be able to set goals that are realistic? You know, do our SMART goals. They're specific, they're measured, they're realistic, and they're time sensitive. Will you be able to do that with the information that you've got? So we've got another little poll. I'll just turn it on for you. And let me know, how do you feel now? So beginning of the session, we asked, okay, what was the year like for you? Having gone through that reflective process and being able to see what you actually did achieve this year and what you became this year, and then what you want next year to look like, do you feel more prepared to step into that and really set intentional goals so that next year is even more amazing? It's, you know, you take a level up, you shift, maybe you're going to shift your career next year. Maybe you're going to take a complete turn. I know, you know, last year a dear friend took a massive turn in her career that she never expected was going to happen. So what does that look like for her next year? She's going to level up on her leadership because that's the space she's stepped into in a big way. So what does that look like for you? Do you feel ready for that? And do you need more work around that? I'm going to just leave that poll open for you guys for a little while, but I will just want to say the monthly shift is open every month. You guys are more than welcome to join whenever. I have it here every month so that we can continue to connect with each other. We do leadership sessions. Today obviously was all about reflection. It was all about looking back on the year, which I think is really important at the end of every year. Next month will be definitely about growth. You know, it'll be about preparing and making sure we're ready for the year ahead. I used to go through a period of never setting goals, and it's almost like taking a stab in the dark. And a lot of my career was, oh, well, someone told me I should do this, so I'll go and do that. And it's like it's worked out for me a lot of the time, but it's like a needle in a haystack. Like it's not really aligned with me. It's not really aligned with the right direction. And when I started to do it intentionally, everything changed. It was a game changer for me, for my career, for my growth. So that's going to be next year, but we will put out early in the year a theme for every month for the first 6 months. We'll have keynote speakers, as I mentioned earlier. We'll have lovely partners like Danita and Nick come and talk to us about what they can offer our community, because it's all about making sure you guys are aware what's available to you, because there is so much available to us that a lot of the times we don't realize. So that's what this space is all about. We are here the first Thursday of every month. So please come and join us again. It's all about helping each other and connecting with each other. So obviously there's extra resources available to you as well. Templates, we'll send you things like sometimes there'll be workbooks, sometimes there'll be activities, sometimes it'll just be keynote speakers giving us great information. So, but there is resources at every month as well. And it's all about professional accountability at the end of the day. It's making sure we're all accountable to ourselves, not to anybody else. So you've done something pretty powerful tonight, and we've heard some great stuff tonight from the guys at Mid With Me. But I feel like, I don't know about you guys, but I feel more ready for the year when I've looked back on the year that was, because we get so stuck in the doing that we actually don't recognize that actually we had an amazing year. And I feel more prepared to step into next year knowing that 2025, while it definitely had its challenges and there was lots of down moments, there was lots of amazing moments as well. And I am a better person today for all of those moments. And it's only when I take that tiny moment in time to be able to think about it and reflect on it that makes me realize, actually, I've come a bloody wrong way. Nearly busted out a swear word then, a worse one. Nearly saw my true colors. That's what it is. Okay, so I really want to thank you guys for coming to the December event. I really do. It's so great to have more and more people wanting to be part of our community. Like I said, we're going national now. There's quite a lot of people registering from out of town, out of Queensland, which is so exciting for me. So please share, please let everybody know we're here. We're here to connect. We're here to help. We're here to grow together. And enjoy your Christmas season. Enjoy December. I know I will. I'm going to have a great Christmas home, which is very, very novel for me. And we will see you guys in the new year. We'll see you in January, fresh-faced and ready to plan. So I'm really grateful for all of you for coming and being part of the Hypnosis Network. Thanks so much, guys. See you later.